Hello, snakes. My name is Dante, and today it's Podcast Tuesday, and it's Christmas Eve as well. So since I'm going to be having my Christmas dinner around the same time as a podcast, it has to be recorded. So yeah. So let's head on straight to number 20 with a new animation. So this podcast, top 20 best elves with a bonus card on top of that. Because it's Christmas Eve, and that's a Christmas special podcast. And, oh, hang on. It's Yeva, Nature's Herald. It's really good. 4 mana, 4/4 legendary elf shaman with flash. And you can cast green creature spells as though they had flash, and it's really good. Like it can be really good when used with a Seedborn Muse, because then everything will untap on each other's turn, and then you just cast creatures in their turn and just flash in really good cards. And it can really work as well if you just if you keep mana open, then you could just surprise defense on your opponents. And the thing is that Yeva also has flash, so even if you don't have Yeva on the board, then you can still do another. You can even surprise cast Yeva, like just using the flash, and then just with that just flash in the rest of the creatures, and it's really cool. That card, it's really good in Commander, at least. Let's get to card 19. And it's Reclamation Sage, and it's 3 mana, 2/1 elf shaman with 1 to the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's really good at wiping out whatever you need it to destroy. It's played in Commander, Modern. It used to be played in Standard until it rotated out, and I think some Pioneer decks actually play Reclamation Sage. It's really good. It's like a naturalize, but you're paying 1 mana extra for a 2/1 creature, which can get really good which is an elf as well, which is the whole point of this podcast. Top 20 best elves, because it's Christmas Eve, and I'm sure you're going to get it. Why elves specifically? The thing is that last year I did a snow podcast, and the thing is that it's played in many elf decks, so it can get really good. Many people can actually use this as main board enchantment removal, artifact removal. It's just really good. And also in some fun Commander decks you can use it. I just really like this card, but there is a card better than it. And let's get to card. There are cards better than it. Let's get to card 18 now. So I decided to put Veridian Corruption in number 18 slot, because it's a 3 mana 2/2 elf shaman with infect when it enters destroyed artifact. Like Veridian Corruptor can be better than Reclamation Sage, because it gets an extra toughness and Infect just to remove the enchantment part. But Infect is a really powerful keyword ability. It's one of my favorite keyword abilities as well. But you may disagree if you want. If you want, you can just rearrange this and put this in 19, or put this in 18 if you want. But if you like how it's placed, then leave it as is. And let's say Veridian Corruptor is better than Reclamation Sage. But what we know is that Veridian Shaman is just a really bad card. It's like Veridian Corruptor, except it doesn't have Infect. Yeah. Let's get to card 17 over there. And we got Elvis Champion. Say 3 mana 2/2 Elf Lord. Well, yeah, it's not Lord, it's just a 3 mana 2/2 Elf, but it is a Lord. It's a, because that's the effect, it just other elves get +1/+1 and have Force Walk. Well, it includes the opponent's elves, and Force Walk is a good mechanic. It's like one of the best elf lords, but there are better elf lords as well. And yeah, and it's a really good card, actually. Force Walk can be an interesting mechanic. The only danger in this part is that it gives your opponent's elves the effect, meaning that if you're actually on a mirror, you have to take out Elvis Champion. If you're in modern elf decks, sometimes you run this main board, or you run it in sideboard, because if you run it in sideboard, then it can be sideboarded in against green decks, or if you have it in the main board, then you could just sideboard out when you're facing an Elves deck. Yeah, because it affects the opponent's elves as well. It's still a really good card as well. It's extremely good. Let's get to card 16. Yeah, remember to do that if you haven't already, but our card 16 is Bloom Tender. I mentioned in last podcast, which are the 10 infinite combos you just have to try in Commander. It's 2 mana, 1/1 Elf Druid with tap. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color to your mana pool. It's an infinite combo with Pemin's Aura, as well as using Freed from the Real. But yeah, Penim's Aura is actually better than Bloom Tender because 3 mana, it's same mana cost as Freed from Rio, enchant creature. 1 blue, untap enchanted creature. 1 blue, it gains flying until end of turn. 1 blue, it has Shroud. 1 mana, gets +1, -1 or -1/+1 to end of turn. So Bloom Tender, if you put it onto Bloom Tender, then you'll get infinite green mana. And possibly infinite mana of a different color if you actually play more than 2 colors. Because you're using the blue to untap it. And then in case something happens, then you could just give it Shroud if you have an extra blue. And you can just as well give it infinite toughness. Although it'll be infinitely powerless. Yeah, but it can get really tough as well if you manage to do the infinite combo with a Penims. Or otherwise, if you want to do it with a basic freed from Rio, then yeah, fine by you, if you want. But Panorami's Aura's just much better. And now to card 15. And it's Momir Vig, Civic Visionary. And it's really good because 5 mana, 2/2 legendary elf wizard. It can be used as a commander as well, which is good. And when you cast a green creature, then Otherworldly Tutor. When you cast a blue creature, reveal top. If it's a creature, put into your hand, and it's really good because of the green creature part, and then you can also mind bend it to change all instances of blue to green. So then you just do this. So you search and you even put them to hand. You don't even shuffle and put it on top. You just search, put to hand. Yeah, with Moment Vig, it's really, really good. And if you do it if you cast a green-blue creature, then you get to tutor to your hand. Otherwise, then you just get to tutor to top. If you just cast blue, you just can try your luck. If you get creature on top, then you draw it. Yeah, it's really good. I have a friend that plays that as a commander. It can be used as a CDH deck, but I'm not really into CDH. If you're that type of player, CDH player, try Momir Vig as your commander, but I surely recommend you not to be a CDH player.
RenderForest.com.
And it's Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, and Fyndhorn Elves. These 3 elves are really good because they can ramp. So, because they're just 1 mana, 1/1 set tap for green, which is really good as mana sources. And yeah, so Llanowar Elves used to be able to be played in Standard, but now it's just for Pioneer and for Modern. Elvish Mystic is also Pioneer and Modern. And Fyndhorn Elves is for Legacy. They're just really good cards. The Llanowar Elves, Elvish Mystic, and Fyndhorn Elves. So yeah, there is actually an individual elf that has the same power as multiple Llanowar Elves or multiple Fyndhorn Elves, because this is just one elf. Llanowar Elves is just multiple, and Fyndhorn Elves is just as well multiple. Yeah, it's just really good. Let's get to card 13. Yeah, there we go. Number 13, it's Elvish Clancaller, another elf lord. It's really good because it's just 2 mana only. 2 mana, 1/1 with other elves you control get +1/+1. Only affects your elves. Doesn't give Forest Walk on the other hand, but yeah. For 6 mana, tap, you can search your library for another Elvish Clancaller in case if that is needed, but you rarely really need to do this effect. It's mainly just a cheap lord that in most cases it's more effective than an Elvish Champion, just a basic 2 mana lord that only affects your creatures and can possibly multiply if that's necessary, which I don't really think it is, but you can try if you want. to number 12. And it's Arbor Elf. Yes, it's actually better than the basic clan or elves, because Arbor Elf can be used to untap a forest. So it doesn't say basic forest. Even if it said basic forest, then if you use a snow forest, then it can provide you snow mana, which it's rarely necessary, but in some cases you might need a snow mana. Like if you're using scrying sheets, or you're using a Arkham's Astrolabe. Hey, Arkham's Astrolabe is a good card. But yeah, you get what I mean. And it can also be useful if using Utopia Sprawl, Wild Growth, or even just any type of growth effect that could make a land tap for extra mana, or even just make it tap for any color. Like, for example, you could use New Horizons, for example. So you could just enchant a forest, put +1/+1 counter on Arbor Elf, or just any other elf, and then or any other creature. Because this is played in the modern Ponza decks as well, and in many commander decks as well. And yeah, and then you could just tap for 2 mana of any color, untap, and then retap it again. So you get 4 mana of any color. So you could do 2 and 2, or just 4 of one color. But you can't do any combination. So yeah, you can only do like 2 colors, 2 of 2 colors, or 4 of one color, if you're just using a New Horizons. But it's good with those sprawls and stuff. It's really good. It's such a good card. To number 11. And it's Heritage Druid. Heritage Druid is a 1 mana 1/1 elf druid with tap 3 untapped elves you control. Add triple green to your mana pool. So it's useful with Nettle Sentinel. The thing is that Nettle Sentinel isn't good if you don't have Heritage Druids or Birchlaw Rangers. And yeah, Heritage Druid it's a really good card. And if you're playing elves, then it's really worth it. So yeah, it can be useful with the Nettle Sentinel, because tap it to add green with this effect, cast something, untap the Nettle Sentinel. A good way of doing it is just tap 3 Nettle Sentinels each time. But Heritage Druid can be played in Modern. It's played in Modern, some Legacy decks even, and in Commander. And if you're playing Modern or Legacy, then it's possible you just have multiple. It's possible you have multiple Nettle Sentinels as well to tap to the effect. Yeah, alright, then it's just 1 Nettle Sentinel you need to tap. Because it's not really that good without Nettle Sentinel. But when you do get Nettle Sentinel, it's overpowered, and it bypasses Summoning Sickness, because it doesn't use a tap symbol, it just says tap. So it can just bypass Summoning Sickness. Let's get to card 10. it's Birchlaw Rangers. Again, if you feel like Heritage Druid is better than Birchlaw Rangers, then this is card 11 and this is card 10. But I believe Birchlaw Rangers is better because it's 1 mana, 1/1. You only need to tap 2 untapped elves. Just tap 2 untapped elves you control, add 1 mana of any card to your mana pool, and morph for green. And so, in case if you really need the morph, then you could just morph, but it's rarely used. It's just for this effect. You only need to tap 2 untapped elves, so it can be good with 2 Nettle Centaurs, not 3, or even just 1 Nettle Centaur is good. It can be played in the Legacy Elves deck, or in Commander Elves decks. Yeah. But if you're playing Elves, then you don't really need triple green. You can sometimes just need 1 green. 1 green or 1 blue, or just 1 other color as well, if you want. And you tap less elves as well. And it's more combo potential. The Birchlaw Rangers. Yeah. They're both same mana cost, same power and toughness. Well, I guess you can say that if you're not morphing. Because that's not what you really do with Birchlaw Rangers. But at least it's immune to ixalan. Meaning that, because if ixalan just turns all other creatures face down, Birchlaw Rangers can go face up. Heritage Druid can't. Yeah. Even if you do face up Birchlaw Rangers, all your elves are just blank 2/2s. Yeah. Number 9. And it's Coiling Oracle. Coiling Oracle is a 2 mana 1/1 snake elf druid. I just had to include a snake. Of course. That's what I like. Snakes. I always try to include, if possible, a snake or something related to snake in every podcast I make. That's something I like doing. That's why I decided to put Coiling Oracle in this podcast as well, as number 9 slot. 2 mana 1/1 snake elf druid with 1 to the battlefield, reveal top. If it's a land, put it into the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. Still, it's a really good card. Because they can ramp, otherwise you just draw cards, so it can actually be better than Elvish Visionary as well. Yeah. Which, of course, yeah. But still, Coiling Oracle, it's just most cases scenario better than Elvish Visionary. And on top of that, it's a snake, which is good, because I like snakes. And it's my channel as well. So, always snake. Card number 8. And it's Devoted Druid. Again, another infinite combo I mentioned last podcast as well. And yeah, it's 2 mana 0/2 Elf Druid with tap, add green. Or put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid, untap Devoted Druid. It works with a Reserve Remedies, which is 2 mana 2/1 Human Cleric with if 1 or more plus -1/-1 counters we put into a creature you control, that many -1/-1 counters -1 are put on it instead. So you just tap for green, put 0 -1/-1 counters on it, untap it, tap for green, untap, and then just infinite green, infinite mana. And the thing is that it doesn't prevent -1/-1 counters from being placed on creatures. It's not like Melera or Solemnity. Vizier of Remedies actually works because it's not like it can't -1/-1 counters. It's like -1/-1 -1. So 1 equals, so then this 1 will be 0. So 0 is not can't. There's a difference between 0 and can't. Can't means they don't even arrive. If you just 0, then it's 0 are placed. See? You get what I mean? Number 7. Here we go. And it's Bloodbraid Elf. It's always good, the Bloodbraid Elf. It's just 4 mana, 3/2 Elf Berserker with haste and cascade. So it's really good about the cascade part. Also, 3/2 with haste is good. Like, Bloodbraid Elf can cast something else as well. It's effective in Jund decks because it just multiple cast as well. Many stuff. Or even in Living End decks, which try to cast Living End immediately without even suspending it, and because you can cascade into it. If you don't cascade into it, you cascade into a spell with cascade, so then you can cascade into it, and there you go. Although Bloodbraid Elf will die, but still cascading, it's good. And a 3/2 of haste is also good. Yeah. And it can also be played in many commander decks as well, which is really cool. I heard some Ponza decks play it as well, but not many. It's still a really good card. Let's get to card 6. And it's Edrick, Spymaster of Trust. It's just a commander staple. It's really good as a commander. It can get really powerful. It's 3 mana, 2/2, legendary elf rogue. A creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents. Its controller may draw a card. So it can group hug and prevent creatures from attacking you, because if they attack someone else, then they draw. If they attack you, they don't draw. If you attack them you just play this with many evasive creatures or unblockable creatures even, which is better. And Edrick's just really good, and it can get really powerful. And yeah, and you just draw cards with the evasives, and your opponents draw cards, but they don't attack you, so you're safe as well. Even if they do need to attack you, you'll be prepared as well, which is good. And yeah, so this is just to build a fight between other players. Like, Edrick just goes like, okay, place down, and then the opponents just go like, start attacking each other just to get bonuses, and then you just join into a fight, attack, and then just exit. They'll still fight each other until they fail to realize you're the threat, and then like, oh wait, we have to attack him, and like, by then you could just kill them, and then like punch, and then punch, and you just and punch again. You win. It's really good card. Number 5. And we got Elvish Druid. It's another elf lord. It's 2 mana, a 3 mana 2/2 elf druid with other elves you control get +1/+1. So it's like Elvis Champion, but affects only your creatures. No force walk, but it can tap for 1 green for each elf you control. So you just tap for a lot of mana for each of those elves. And yeah, it's so good. Such a good card. You could just cast. This can follow up into many, many elves and big stuff as well. It's such a good card. And just, it lets you cast Finale of Devastation with X equals 10 much easier. And we got number 4 now. And it's Quirion Ranger. It's 1 green, 1/1 elf with bounce a forest to untap a creature. To untap target creature. But only once each turn. So you could just bounce a forest, untap something, and just do some stuff with that. It's really good. It's like Scrib Ranger. Except, well, yeah, Scrib Ranger's making a reference to Quirion Ranger. And it's like, there's this, it's like Wirewood Symbiote, but the thing is that the reason why Wirewood Symbiote isn't in the podcast, it's because it's not an elf. And since it's Christmas Eve, it's an elf podcast. And yeah, same with Scrib Ranger, because that's a fairy, not an elf. That's a fairy, not elf, and yeah. As well, it's Quirion Ranger's really good because it can just untap some mana sources, so you get multiple mana. So, like at this point, when you use Quirion Ranger and you have lots of mana creatures, you don't even care about your lands. You just bounce them to do certain effects and just and then just cast bigger stuff, also more effects, and you just win at this point. No reward, just you win. It's really, really good. Quirion Ranger. It's played in all elves decks and many decks in general, yeah. It doesn't even have to untap an elf, it just untaps a creature. It just works really well. Yeah, it's such a good card. Number 3. There we go. And it's Froude Mystic. It's just really good because it just comes with a counter spell. It's much better than Mystic Snake, which is actually one of the best counter spells. And Froude Mystic is just better than Mystic Snake. So it also makes it one of the best counter spells, and now also one of the best elves as well. It's known as a counter spell. Counter spell. Counter spell on an elf. Counter spell. Do you like that fusion? It's quite cool. Also, it's a lizard as well. And a wizard. Elf, lizard, wizard. This is really funny card and really good card as well. 4 mana, 3/2, flash, enters, you may counter spell. Yeah, it's so good. Really good. Also, really good creature types as well. Elf, lizard, wizard. They're also really good. The thing is that it's not snake. That's the thing. Mystic Snake was a snake. It's worse than Froude Mystic because it's just a 2/2. Froude Mystic is just slightly better than Mystic Snake. Yeah, but still better than Mystic Snake, actually. Number 2. There we go. it's Priest of Titania. Yes, it's better than Elvish Archdruid, or Archdruid I think it was, because it's 2 mana, 1/1, yes, not not a lord, but but also taps for each elf on the battlefield, not only your elves. So if you're playing in command, it's good in legacy, and if you're playing it in commander, then it can also work because there's going to be lots more elves on other sides of the board, not just your own side, and can tap for immense amounts of mana, even like much earlier than what Elvish Archdruid could do. Wait, was it Archdruid or Archdruid? I think it was Archdruid. Yeah, Elvish Archdruid. But yeah, Priest of Titania is just really good. It's like, that's the reason why, like, for example, Llanowar Elves, or it's better than Llanowar Tribe. Because, like, well, yeah, Llanowar Tribe is just 3 mana, 3/3 that taps for 3 mana. Llanowar Elves is just 1 mana, 1/1 that taps for 1 mana. It's much easier to cast and more reliable. Like, for example, Birchlaw Rangers is better than Heritage Druid, for example, as well. Yep, it's just really good. If you're wondering why this is number 2, not number 1, you just see what number 1 is. And it's Nisa, Vastwood Seer, that transforms into Nisa Sage Animist. Yep, it's just kid Nisa or teenager Nisa, I think it was. I don't know. It's really good because it's like, it's 3 mana 2/2 legendary elf scout. Enters battlefield. May search your library for basic forest. Only basic forest. It can search for snow forest even. And reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. And landfall. If you have seven or more lands, transform Nisa. Oh yeah, actually, blink Nisa, then transform her into a Nisa Sage Animist. 3 loyalty legendary planeswalker Nisa. +1. Reveal top card of your library. If it's a land, put it onto battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. So it just does Coiling Oracle effects as a +1 effect. Yeah, it's just really good. -2, create a legendary 4/4 elemental called Ashaya, the Awoken World. And -7, untap 6 lands. They become 6/6 elementals, and they're still lands. It's really good because you could just first of all tap those lands for 6 mana, then just do -7, untap them, and they're just 6/6 permanently. It's not until end of turn. It's actually really good. And yeah, it doesn't put counters though. It just makes them 6/6. Yeah, it's really good. And it's time for the bonus card, the Christmas promo of this year. The Christmas promo. Okay, the Christmas promo of 2019. Yep, there's a Christmas promo this year, and we decided to put this in the podcast as a bonus card. That's the bonus card I was talking about. The bonus card is Decorated Knight. 4 mana, 3/3, human knight with present arms, sorcery adventure. Exchange your library with another deck you own from outside the game. Shuffle your library. And then say 3/3 with whenever attacks, draw a card from your original deck if it's outside the deck. And if it's outside the game. It's really, really powerful card. It's really funny, really good as well. And yeah. There we go. That's the Christmas promo of this year. And yep, you reached the end of the podcast. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, follow my Twitch channel, share with friends. Stay tuned to next videos, streams, and podcasts. Podcasts will be live every Tuesday, except for next week's podcast, which would be the New Year's Eve podcast, because I'm going to be in Hungary just for a trip. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye.